How's it going, guys? We stopped off last night about people saying how to pray and all that stuff, and telling you you're not praying right if you're not doing specific ways. It's a major issue for me, but at the same time, I'm not really gonna. I try not to judge people. You say whatever you want to say. In the end, you got to deal with God with that. Now, I want to be very clear about what I said. I didn't say Julie Green puts her real stuff behind a paywall. I never said that. I didn't say Christmas puts everything behind a paywall. Never said that. I said some of these guys do. They want you to pay for them to teach you stuff. That is where that was coming from. So I want to be very clear on this. That way somebody can't be, oh, well, he said this, he said that. I wasn't saying that. So I wanted to clarify that at the beginning of this. But something that clicked in my head today, back in the 90s, there was a officer that disregarded the laws, disregarded civil rights, went into a house, shot and killed the husband, and beat the wife. And come to find out, after everything was said and done, the officer never got charged with a crime. It was basically swept under the rug. I remember the very first reports, I think, came out in the newspapers, said something about he was a drug dealer. The very next week, it went from a drug dealer to a arms trafficker, and the next one was he was trafficking kids. So those were cover-ups. And I asked my family, how can we allow this to keep going? And my Christian family told me it was a necessary evil that we just have to endure. Now, if I understand correctly, why should we have to endure any evil if God is setting forth the way? It's amazing how much we put up with in today's society instead of standing up and saying enough. One man can start it, but it's going to take 1 million men to finish it. And as long as all of them have Christ on their side, none of them will fail. But who's going to stand first? empower law enforcement to do whatever they want. And to make us have power and fear in front of them. It's getting really bad from some of the stuff I've seen today. I could go on a rant for a week about law enforcement. It's not going to change anything. The only thing that's going to change is if we can get the laws changed. And even then, cops aren't going to change. They're set in their ways. The Blue Brotherhood of the line, it's not going to change. So the only way to fix it is to abolish it, to remove it altogether. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to go, but we can't keep going the way we're going and expect it to get better. And in my opinion, officers are going to have a lot of explaining to do in the higher courts. I'm not talking about the courts here on earth. Put them under trial. When God's courts put these guys under trial, these guys have got a lot of explaining to do. And I feel sorry for them when they have to go and do that. Because they got to know what they're doing is wrong. Unless they are just totally turned off of humanity. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to go on a rampage, and I don't want to do that. Not on here. But back to something else, back to the points. Praying to God is what your gut is telling you how to pray. If that means crack open the Bible and recite a verse to Him, recite that verse back to Him. 100%. But my gut's telling me that no matter how original you think you are at praying, it's already been said and it's already been done. Be yourself. You can't hide who you are from God. You can't turn around and say, Lord, help me, blah, 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 get me through this, help me pay for this, help me, throughout my days, and then turn around and forget Him for 3 weeks. Don't crack your Bible, don't pray, don't do anything, fall back in your bad habits, and then slap yourself in the head, say, this is wrong, I shouldn't be doing this, and then go back to God. God will only tolerate that for so long. There was a saying Jesus said to a gentleman, and the saying was said like this. Don't quote me, I'm not 100% sure where it's at, but basically Jesus said, a shepherd will leave 99 sheep to go find the one that's lost and to protect it until it's back with its herd. So God will go look for you if you go astray. But if you keep going astray, I'm pretty sure he's going to chalk you up to a lost, and that you're not. You're going to harden yourself off from God at that point. We have to be ready to put it all on the line for God. Would I take a bullet for Christianity? Yes. If a guy told me he was going to shoot me 6 times for believing the way I believe, pull the trigger. If God wants me shot for believing in Him, I'll get shot. That's just the way it is. I know my wife doesn't like me talking like this, but reality is, to have faith in something like this, you have to put it all on the line. Marriage is not about love. It's about trust. My wife trusts me that I will not hurt her intentionally at any point in our relationship. I trust my wife, she won't hurt me intentionally in our relationship, throughout the relationship. So, if I trust her, that's how the marriage works. Love is a byproduct. You can love God all day long. God will always love you. But that's not enough in a relationship. When you have friends, I mean true friends, it's not a friendship. It's a trust. It's a bond. You know why the military have such strong bonds? Even after death, that bond is still there. Because of trust. And that's what we need with God. We need to understand that in order to believe in God, we have to trust in God with everything. Not just the small stuff. I've said this many times. We need to trust Him with everything. Trust Him with your relationship with your wife. Trust Him with your relationship with your kids. Trust Him with the relationship with your money. Trust Him with everything. If you can't, you've got a problem. That's where a lot of people fail in their faith. Faith will only carry you so far. Love will only carry you so far. Trust can last by us in eternity. Okay? So, I trust my truck to get me back and forth to work every day. I turn around, I maintain it, I put the effort into it, and it carries me back and forth to work. It's a trusting relationship. My truck trusts me to take care of it, I take care of it, so it takes care of me. So, same thing with my wife. She trusts me to make hard decisions that she doesn't want to make, that benefit both of us, and it puts us on the right path. And that's what I do. I don't walk up to my wife and say, hey, we're moving to Nebraska today. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Get your bag packed and let's go. I don't do that. If there's an opportunity, I tell her about it. And I tell her that it would be a lot better of a life she wants to go do that, we'll go do that. If she doesn't want to progress and move up and do things, I'm fine with that too, because I'm not a material man. I love my wife. Someone asked me one time what would happen if me and my wife split up, or if God took my wife from me. I'd follow God wherever He told me to go. I would take a few weeks and mourn and do what I needed to do to get myself right. And then I would do whatever God told me to do. So, and I would get back to basics. I would live out in the woods for probably 2 or 3 months. So, that's what I would be doing. But we need to understand that everything that happens to us, God has a plan for that. The reason you are enduring what you're enduring may not be may not be what God wanted for you, but there's a reason for the enduring. It's to teach you something. Just like my old teacher told me, he's like, I'm not having you do drills just to be having you do them. I'm teaching you muscle memory. They'll help you later in life. Why do you think guys go to gun ranges and practice their shooting, drawing, centering up on their targets? Muscle memory. So therefore, when a reality event takes place, they're not sitting there fumbling around. So you have to understand, faith is the same way. Your trust in God has to be put through the same tests. And right now, I think God is testing a lot of us to see if we're going to turn our back on Him, if we're going to get burned out and just throw the towel in and say Satan wins, in all this. A lot of people feel beaten up and battered, and it's, quote, people that haven't gone to Congress and the normal people. Because believe it or not, the normal people are the ones that take on the heavy hits spiritually. Because we're working so hard. We're dealing with all this inflation. We're dealing with corruption from the minute meter maid all the way up to the presidency. The military's all messed up. I mean, there is a lot going on. It seems like the United States is crashing and burning right now. And that puts a lot on patriots. We have to stand like our founding fathers did. The 3% that fought in the Civil War, we need to have the 5% stand up. We need to do what our founding fathers did and our ancestors did for this land. But everybody's too afraid of jail time, getting shot, getting killed, getting pain, having pain enforced on them. Oh, I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. That's not something that today's society can handle. I think it'd be maybe 2% of the United States that would be able to stand right now. I could be wrong, but and God could give us the greatest gift of all and flip that switch overnight and everything changes. That's what I pray for every night before I go to bed. Lord, allow this to change for your better. We need to really focus in on our prayers and let God's people be put into the seats that need to be put so we can get all this straightened out. Now, a lot of people are kind of wondering what God's going to do for Thanksgiving because they're saying something specific. I can't even speak. There's a situation that's going to come up where we're going to be very thankful for. No one knows what it is, but that's what prophets have been saying. So Thanksgiving is supposed to be a day of us truly being thankful. So maybe Trump gets put in office. Maybe they impeach Biden, but that would put Kamala in office. And so I'm not sure how they're going to handle it. But I do know something's supposed to happen. We'll see. The financial market is changing. So we're just going to have to be patient. Ask God for renewal of your spirit, manna from heaven. Sometimes I feel like just shutting myself off from everything and dive my mind into a video game so I can escape reality for a little bit. And that's not healthy. So we need to find better ways of dealing with our problems. And not quite sure how that's going to work out. But just remember, be a prayer warrior. Remember, God loves you. He loves us all. And you guys be safe. All right?